Good day. I'm going to discuss a entirely new topic, which is entitled Process Flow Analysis, or abbreviated as PFA. Definition of process flow analysis. Process flow analysis is a process used to make or deliver a service or product impacts, facility layout, resources, and technology decisions, and work methods. Process flow methods used in analyzing and improving process flows of materials, information, and customers in service operations. A business process flow is a way to an inputs or outputs, which are usually denoted by ovals. Sometimes they also use circles, diamond, and boxes to denote an input or an output. Process flow analysis is used to help fully understand the current condition of any process. It draws upon waste elimination, value adding, and visual management techniques to map out an accurate representation of the current process used to be able to then identify areas for improvement activities. A picture of the separate steps of a process in sequential order, including materials or services entering or leaving the process, inputs and outputs, decisions that must be made, people who become involved, time involved at each steps, and or process measurements. A step-by-step approach for identifying all possible failure in a design. A manufacturing or assembly process or a product or service, studying the consequence or effects of those failures and eliminating or reducing failures, starting with the highest priority ones. The process architecture may be an important component in firms' strategy for building a competitive advantage. So, what is process flow chart? Its purpose is to describe a process visually, to find ways of improving the current process. So, what are the benefits that you get? Find repetitive operations, identify the bottlenecks. You need to describe directions and distances of flows, people, material, and information. Reduce waste. Process flow analysis might change raw materials, product design, job design, processing steps used, equipment or tools, suppliers. A process flow can make a huge process understandable, bring a large group together, resolve differences, create a vision, create an action plan. Process analysis is a step-by-step breakdown of the phases of a process used to convey the inputs, outputs, and operations that take place during each phase. A process analysis can be used to improve understanding of how the process operates and to determine potential targets for process improvement through removing waste and increasing efficiency. A method of visually documenting the stage involved in performing a certain business procedure, a types of process flow popular among business managers might take the form of flow charts that show inputs or information request, followed by each of the steps required to create delivered outputs, such as products or services from the inputs. Business process flow is a way of visualizing and documenting the steps in a business process. Flowcharts document inputs or requests for information, products, or any other deliverables. The procedural steps to satisfy that requirement and the output or deliverable that is generated by the input. Common elements of a diagrammatical presentation. So we will discuss here what are the common symbols, otherwise diagram that is actually utilized in the process flow analysis. Number one, the symbol of arrow. This shows movement in one or more direction. So usually we could even apply this arrow to an exit sign showing where the direction of egress or flow the occupants or tenants must follow in case of an evacuation or an emergency. Number two, oval or circle. Oval or circle signify an operation being done, or it is in the form of letter O. Number three, diamond. This signify decision being done on a diagram. So this is actually answerable by yes or no. So there is actually a problem statement indicated in this diamond. So this will be presented later on our later discussion. While the half circle or half moon denotes delay, or sometimes it is abbreviated as capital letter D. Number five, the triangle. It denotes storage or warehouse. Number six, rectangle or square indicates inspection or process done. So let us go over the different meanings of these diagrams or symbols. Operation is a task or work activity to change the physical or chemical characteristics of the materials. Symbol is in oval or letter O. Inspection is a task or work activity to check the quality or quantity of the material. Symbol is in rectangle or square. Move or transportation, a movement of material from one point to another, transporting the material from one place to another. This is in the form of an arrow. Storage, an inventory or storage of materials, awaiting for the next operation when the material is kept in a safe local. The symbol is in triangle. Delay, a delay is in the sequence of operation when material cannot go to the next activity. Symbol is in the form of a half circle or capital letter D. So sometimes the delay is actually synonymous to what we call waiting time. Decision symbol is in the form of a diamond, and there is a question that needs to be elaborated. It is answerable by yes or no. So let us provide here an application how to use the grammatic symbols. In that way, we can come up with an application how we could actually use this for the benefit of inspecting the or assessing the damage of earthquake to a building. So here we have a scenario. in case that there are structural engineers who would actually inspect the damage or the extent of damage of a building. So here, what is actually being conducted here is an earthquake assessment. So the cost here is due to an earthquake. So now, this is the template that will actually undergo, the building will undergo an assessment if it will be reused, demolished, or it needs to continue its business. So at the topmost part is the earthquake. Then take note, there is an arrow here that points to the next level of assessment. So they're going to assess here the collapse risk. Now, it is answerable by no or yes. If it is yes, then it goes through this another process or undertaking: estimation and treatment. So entry is also limited for safety purposes. Then, presuming if the collapse risk is not risky, so other risk is it will go to this another step or procedure. So suitable place for refuge, if it is yes, use as a place for refuge. Then it goes to this next level: estimation and treatment. Now, from this diagram, especially at the first phase of the earthquake assessment, there's a quick inspection indicated. So the next step after the quick inspection is the estimation of and treatment of the building. Then eventually, there is a next level wherein they need to classify the damage. So this is the first level of evaluation. So the next procedure is impossible to reuse. If yes, then automatically the structure will be demolished. Or they need to classify the damage if it is impossible to reuse. So here, there might be a possibility that it is not yet clear. So they need to carefully assess and inspect the details. So necessary to strengthen the building? If yes, we need to apply the restoration planning. Can it be restored? If not, if it is totally impossible to restore the building, then the last resort is to demolish the building. While if it is still possible to restore, then yes, restoration design will be imposed. Then restoration construction will be utilized after this. The building will be reused once again. So another question here is it impossible to reuse? No. So strengthening, so meaning it will undergo once again here the restoration plan until we're able to strengthen the structure and it is ready for reuse once again. Or there might be a repair and inspection. So once again, this is where restoration design will take place. While if it is, there's once again another question here: is it possible to reuse? So here, there is actually a possibility still that the extent of the damage of the building is not actually fully or entirely damaged. So upon assessment of the structural engineer, the building will still continue its use. So meaning there was no damage to the structure at all. So the building will just simply continue its function. So these are actually how we're able to apply the process flow analysis through this post-earthquake inspection and evaluation. So another way of determining how a building would actually function or work. So here, once that the customers, tenants, or inquirer would enter the building, these are the steps that will actually transpire during their visit. So they need to, of course, enter the building first. Then the next step here is we need to determine who are the users. Are the users tenants? Are the users the customer? Or just merely a walk-in client or inquirer? And employees. That is why, all in all, we have 4 building users. If there are tenants inside the building, so if ever that they are car owners, yes, if they have car, then directly they would park their car in their parking spaces. Then eventually they enter the lobby. Okay, so the tenant, this is how their written functions. And then they attend to their customers in reception. After this, they can supervise their workers. If work is done, then yes, it is time to go home. So they will just simply leave the building. If not, they will still continue inspecting their employees' work till they are done. Then the building owner, or should we say the tenant, can already vacate or leave the premises behind. So they can be a walk-in, or simply they can also use their power to leave the building. While for the customers, there's a question here: do they have a car, or are they also car owners? If yes, so still same process as the tenant. They need to park their car in the parking space. Then directly they go to the reception or lobby, after which they could go to the different parts of the building or to suit their needs. If they're going to have their shop, gyms, laundry, or simply they would like to eat inside the building, then they need to decide whether they will leave or not. If no, they would stay for a while, then there is a designated space there. Letter D is the symbol, meaning there's a waiting time here. So we need to come up with an area where these customers could actually wait. Then, eventually, if they're already done inside the building, they will just simply exit or leaves the building already. Or if they have cars, they could simply return to their car and leave the building through their car. So, how about the inquirers? So take note, once that they enter the building, the inquirer, if they are car owner, they would just simply leave their car in the parking area, then goes to the information office to inquire. Then, are there available stalls inside the building. In that way, they could probably establish here their own business transaction, or simply they would like to rent inside this building establishment. If yes, then they will inspect the stall. If they are interested, then they will negotiate, or simply if they are not interested, then they will just leave the building already. So upon negotiation, they will just pay their the building owner. In that way, there is already a transaction conducted inside the building. So once that everything is already done, they would just simply return back to their car and leave the building. Now, how about for the employees? So once that they enter the building or structure, the employees, if they have their own car, they could also leave their vehicles or their car in the parking lot. Then they proceed to the lobby. Then after which they go to their office or workspace. After which they need to do their work. Once that the work is already done, simply they can go to their designated parking area. Then simply they will leave their structure. If they do not have any vehicles at all, simply they would just walk out of the building. Then they would exit the structure. So these are the different steps that would actually carefully analyze how the building users progresses as they use the building. So this is just a simple scenario how we can actually apply the process flow analysis in establishing and analyzing the behavior or procedures or process that is actually transpires in the building or their work flow activity. This ends my topic.